And right now, we about to kick it off with a fireside chat with our keynote. You know, she is one of the bright faces in Philadelphia that's doing the work for the community of Philadelphia, making sure that we have a voice at the table. And she's definitely at the table right now. So I just want to give a warm welcome, a big round of applause for Christa Barfield, AKA Farmer Jawn. Let's make some noise for her. Christa. Good morning. How are you? Good afternoon now. How are you?
Afternoon. I'm so happy to be here, in the city that I love, doing what I love, connecting with my people. Yes.
So when we came down to planning this whole festival, Dylan was looking for a keynote, and the first person that came to mind was you. So congratulations for all the work that you're doing. I just want to say, as young women, we're looking up to you, and we're seeing that you're making a way for us. You know what I mean? And you're definitely putting it back into the community. And that goes to my first question that I want to ask you. Being a long resident of Philadelphia, it holds a special place in your heart. So how has that changed and helped your perspective as you do the work that you do in Philadelphia?
Yeah, Philadelphia being the 5th largest metro and also 5th largest city in America, it is just so key. I believe that anything that we can do here to impact change, not only for our people, but for not in our city, but also our nation, we should be able to pilot that here and prove that it works. I believe in proof of concept. I believe in doing things to ensure that we can say we have a track record. So when you say trailblazing, it's not that I'm doing things that haven't already been done. It's just the fact that I believe that we need to take it to the next level. And having a seat at the table is important. Being amongst community, being amongst people that look like us is key, but it's also necessary for others that don't look like us to understand that we are doing this work because it's a part of our ancestry. And it's also a part of the makeup of America. America was built by the exploitation of black bodies, and so it's important that we now have a seat at the table, not only as a voice, but also to have buy-in to the actual revenue that comes back to our community.
And a lot of work that you're doing is innovative, is shifting people to a new direction. How are you as a black woman reintroducing yourself when you are sitting at these tables?
Yeah, I'm making sure that they understand that, to the point that I just made, Black people have been here. This is not new, but it's about us being recognized for what our capabilities are, for really being revered. A lot of what Black people have given to the culture and our economy, our whole makeup of America has never been given proper due. So they're just thinking about one of the properties that I have that's in Philadelphia right outside. It is called Elkins Estate, and that property, it's been colonized. The land was given to the Elkins family by William Penn, and so, but it actually was designed, that whole property as well as City Hall was designed by Arthur Trumbauer. Arthur Trumbauer was a man who designed Philadelphia City Hall, designed Elkins Estate, but there was a black man behind him that actually did the architecture design that does not get any credibility, and his name was Julian. So, it is important that we are no longer behind in the back. We need to be in the forefront, and people need to know our names.
I appreciate that transparency. And speaking of that, I kind of just jumped into today's conversation because I know who you are, and I was excited. We got, Farmer Jawn as our keynote. Let's get straight into the conversation. But I want to make sure that you do your, due diligence by introducing yourself for people who are now just getting to know who you are and attaching a face to the name.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Christa Barfield. I am a Germantownonian. I come from Uptown, and you've been here all my life. I'm a 35-year-old woman with 2 children, just
Awesome.
A little background. I have 2 grown children. One is 20 and almost grown, one is 15. And I started my background, my degree is in healthcare administration. I went to St. Joe's University, and I went to ENS, just giving all the background. But ultimately, I found myself always loving science and always loving medicine, and that's because I was raised by a healthcare professional. My mother is a nurse practitioner, and so I knew I was going to be in healthcare, and I did that for 10 years and realized, again, I was in the background running a practice that was not owned by anyone who looked like me. But I was responsible for their money. So I was responsible for making sure that they maintain profitability. And I knew after working at the level that I was for the people who I was working for that I actually would never reap the benefits of what I was doing for them.
Yeah.
And I said enough was enough. Like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, and I'm putting in so much time and effort, and I want to do something different. So I took a trip after resigning from my job, not actually knowing what my next steps were going to be. I vacationed alone to Martinique in 2018. Martinique is a French Caribbean country. They speak Creole, and I speak French, so it was a good opportunity for me to be there and get a chance to exercise some of this language that I had been losing over the years. And I met Black farmers while I was there. I had an opportunity to see Black people farming because they wanted to, farming on land that they owned, and building a business for their own family and legacy. And to me, it's still connected back to health. I looked at it as a reincarnation of my healthcare career.
I love it.
And I said, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna start a farm. And the rest is history. I started farming in a 24 square foot greenhouse in my 10 by 10 foot backyard, concrete backyard at that. And now I've been able to grow that over the last 5 years to now stewarding 128 acres of land in the Philadelphia region.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
And when we talk about farming, right, and you think about a city like Philadelphia, tell us a little bit about, some challenges that you may face as being a farmer in a city, in an urban city like Philadelphia.
Land loss. It's so huge. I mean, it's not even just my story, it's everyone's. I have to give a shout out to the property that we're sitting on.
Yes, yes.
Malika and the wonderful One Art team has always been welcoming. I mean, Malika and her crew are trailblazers in this Philadelphia urban ag game.
Agreed.
And
I know y'all hear them chickens back there.
Oh yeah, yeah. So much respect there. And honestly, I really just look at what we're doing as Philadelphia really needs this. And again, it goes back to us being the 5th largest city in the nation, and if we're going to do anything, we need to be able to prove that it works here first, and then be able to help others in other parts of the nation say, like, this is what we've done, this is where we found success, or this is where we found difficulty, and like, what has been working for you. Philadelphia is also hosting the Bugs Conference, which is the Black Urban Gardeners Conference that's coming up next weekend, and that's also a big deal. And in many years in past, it's been in the South, and so I'm really happy, that we get to be a host of it. And I believe some of that programming will also be taking place here as well. So, yeah, getting to connect with all the Black and brown farmers of America, a lot of which will be coming to the city next week, is a big deal. And we have a lot of information to share with them and also to receive from them.
And how can we get administration here in the city of Philadelphia to take, agriculture, to take eco-justice just as serious as, social justice issues?
Yeah, I will say that Philadelphia is also, a big trailblazer in that as well. We have a program that's dedicated under our Parks and Rec department that's dedicated specifically to urban ag.
Awesome.
There are dollars that are going specifically to urban ag to ensure that people in our city or in our region that want to become involved in agriculture, that don't have the resources, that they have a place to start. Land specifically, and I'll go back to the land loss point, is that's going to be the hardest part ultimately, because at the end of the day, while I'm building this business and this enterprise, we don't own any land. And so I see a benefit in leasing land to begin with, to be able to get to a point where I am able to purchase, but everybody can't do that. Everybody can't start. Even commercial spaces, being able to get a commercial space difficult, requires you to have certain credit criteria and just basic knowledge of the game, because this is very much a game that we're in this city and in any city, in politics, like everything is political is what I've learned in building my business. And so I want to be able to get the understanding and the framework of how to do this so that we can say, all right, you want to do this too? All right, this is what you got to do. And here's some money to go ahead and do it. And here's some, the tools you need to do it. And so I really love our city. I really appreciate the work that Ash Richards is doing in the city of Philadelphia and in making sure that there is spaces for urban ag and the tools that people need to actually build their own, enterprise here. And all the grants that are being made available by the state of Pennsylvania is also helpful. The state of Pennsylvania has been supporting urban ag for the last few years in a really big way. And we're continuing to learn and continuing to advise on the best way to make the highest impact.
And I wanted to ask a specific question because we're in West Philadelphia, and one of the biggest narratives about West Philadelphia is that it's a food desert. It's not many places that you can actually get food after certain hours. Certain grocery stores, don't have the best nutrition, say snacks or fruit, whatever, when you go inside. So when it comes down to food deserts, what's your thought as being a Black farmer?
Our whole city is a food desert.
Yeah.
It really doesn't even matter where you live. And what I think about that is, like you said, nutrition is the key word for me. As a healthcare professional, I do believe that food is medicine. And that's a big point that's important to make, that it's not enough to just have food in places. Where did it come from? Where was it grown? How was it grown? Was it pumped with chemicals? Was it pumped with glyphosate? Does it have heavy toxins and metals? All that stuff matters when it comes to our actual health in the long run. And then even more than that, how foods are then prepared. That's also very key. And we understand that as Black people, comfort food and soul food has not always been made in the best way.
Yeah. But
it doesn't mean it can't be. It doesn't mean that we can't retain cultural relevance with our food and still be healthy at the same time. So, yes, being in West Philly is a food desert. Our whole city really is a food desert. That is the point of being able to grow to scale. So while I appreciate all of the urban ag initiatives that are throughout our city, it's important that we do that on a higher level so that we can actually have impact to feed people.
Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so urban agriculture and agriculture in general, when you're talking about in city, the confines of a city, has typically been a hobby. It's a way to wellness from the sense of being able to connect and put your hands in soil. There are microbes that pass through your skin and give you wellness. It's true. It's scientifically proven. At the end of the day, if we are meant to be growing food to impact the health of people, that means more people have to be eating that food. Enough people have to be eating that food,
real.
Whether it's free or whether they pay for it. That's another level.
Yeah.
But we have to first be able to provide it. The majority of the growing spaces in Philadelphia aren't providing the food to the people, enough people, in a way that we can say that the Black people in America or in our city are not the unhealthiest population, because currently we still are. But if we started to be able to grow enough food that was grown organically, that was grown regeneratively without chemicals, then I definitely would say that we would start to become the more healthier population if we understood that where our food comes from does matter. But that means that we have to be able to equip and empower enough Black people with the land, with the dollars and resources to be able to grow food in more bulk amounts than just being able to grow, small amounts of food to give here and there. That's nice, that's appreciated. It gives the optics that, yes, food, knowing where your food comes from is important, but we also have to be able to grow it to scale. And that's also how we become profitable, is that we have to be able to build a business to scale so that we can actually be provisional.
And that kind of leads to my next question as far as community support, right? So from your journey within entrepreneurship, from farming to entrepreneurship, when you left the health industry, how has the community really helped in your success from where you are now with 128 acres?
Yeah, so 123 of those acres is located in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is about 45 minutes away from the city. And the reason for that space and me making that move to expand is, again, it goes back to scalability. Yeah. And being able to have enough food that's close enough to the city so I can get it back down into the city. And the big part of that is that the love that's being shown from all the weekend trips that Black people have been coming up from the city to come support. It illuminates me. It makes me very happy every time, and it gives me the drive to keep pushing for this mission. Our first corner store is going to be opening in Kensington in March of 2024. And so again, when I say that the acreage is necessary because we need to be able to do this to scale so that we have enough of the food that's grown by a Black person to a Black woman, and also that's regenerative and organic. It needs to be able to then come back down into the city so that you can say, you can go to your local market or you can go to your favorite restaurant and say, do you have anything, or is any of your stuff from Farmer Jawn? Because you know that Farmer Jawn only does regenerative and only does organic. Yeah. And she is a Black woman, so you're also supporting then the Black economy. Yeah. So that is what has been beautiful to see, is people coming up to support me and knowing that I have plans to bring the food back down to Philadelphia.
So when it comes down to Westchester, I think that's crazy that it's in Westchester. That's Chester County first and foremost,
Yes.
like one of the richest counties in
the nation.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, in general. So
Yeah.
you as a Black woman coming into that county, just a quick question about that. You know, how do you feel being surrounded by so many white people with money?
It has not been the easiest transition, I will be honest. I will say Cheney University, the first HBCU,
Whoop, whoop, see you.
yes, is directly across the street from my farm. So I believe
Wow.
directly.
Okay.
The ancestors make no mistakes.
That's what's up.
They
Okay.
don't. So we actually have a dinner coming up to celebrate them and our essential union together on October 21st. So we'll get back to that.
Awesome.
But being there when I was being very vocal just about my experience, so many people just did not want change. You know, there was a white farmer that had been there for 30 years in that community that they knew, that they were used to, and me coming in saying like, okay, I'm regenerative, I'm organic. It rubbed people wrong. It rubbed that farmer's community wrong. People that rallied around him and made his business successful were more hesitant to be like, okay, well, you know, she's bashing. And I'm like, I'm not bashing. I'm an organic farmer. I don't spray Roundup. I will not spray Roundup. So it takes time for me to get used to being in that environment, because I also moved there. I spend about 75% of my time there, and I still have a home here. So when we're in season. So it has not been the easiest. I've faced a lot of microaggressions daily on a regular basis. What keeps me going is that I'm like, my ancestors went through way worse. And so and it doesn't make what they're doing right, but it does give me this feeling of like, this is what's necessary. This is what I have to do. And that's why when Black people do come up to visit me in Westchester on weekends, it fills me with so much joy.
That's what's up.
And there's a lot of Black people in Westchester, don't get me wrong. There's Black people in Chester County that come and support as well. But I love when people tell me that they took the trip to come visit. It just makes me really happy.
I came from Philly.
Yeah, they're like, I came from, and they make sure they tell me, and I'm like, let's get this picture, sis.
Yeah, that's love. And you also have other business ventures. We got about 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure we tap into your other business ventures as well. So you do some hemp growing too. So let's talk a little bit about hemp. Why did you decide to choose hemp?
Yeah, so hemp is actually, it's newer for me, and it still is. I'm more so educating myself on the processes, because I believe that industrial hemp is what I'm referring to. While I believe that hemp in the cannabis plant will definitely add to the wellness of your body. But hemp has so many benefits, from its ability to be plant material, building materials for your home, and corner Jawns that I'm building in the city. The first one's in Kensington. The next one hopefully will be in West Philly. I have a property I'm looking at. And another one in Germantown. But the walls of those are going to be built using hemp. And so there's an actual material that's called hempcrete, and it's utilizing hemp fibers, and it insulates very well. So that, I want to incorporate ways for people to understand how you can make money in the business of cannabis without actually, making treats or selling edibles.
Would this help for the food that would be inside of these places?
I'm sorry?
Would it help by the walls being made out of hemp? Would it help for the food that would be installed inside of these
No,
places?
not necessarily. It's different, but it's just about your whole life being plant-based.
Okay.
Like, to me, being plant-based is a lifestyle.
That's true.
It's like, how can I incorporate what we can grow on God's green earth in everything that we do, and building materials is a part of that.
And you also have a tea business.
I do.
So when it comes down to the tea business, I know that I love tea. I drink tea almost every day.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to the tea business, how has that helped just growing in general the brand of Farmer Jawn?
We Believe Tea is the first company I ever started. I started that in 2019 because when I went to Martinique, I was served tea that was made from herbs that were picked. I watched them pick from their backyard. And so that was like, I'm going to start a tea company, and that's how I was able to begin my agriculture journey. Because before then, I had never touched soil before.
Yeah. Really?
Never.
That's crazy.
Never grew a plant, never had a house plant, nothing.
That's crazy. And we got to wrap up today, but I want to ask you this last question, as we sit here and we get to know you, just a little bit of insight. When it comes down to Farmer Jawn, the brand, right, and you want to expand, you want to keep it going, but you want to keep it so Philadelphia that it reminds everyone of Philadelphia. How can we, as community residents, how can we continue to support you to make sure that your brand continues to succeed?
What it is that I don't want to be what I am currently, which is the largest regenerative organic Black farmer in the nation, Black woman farmer in the nation. I want to be able to continue to build upon that. And so through our nonprofit, we have a training program that's called our Agripreneur Cohort, where we train Black and brown people who have interest in becoming a farmer as a lifestyle or building a business that is ag related. And this is our second year doing it. And if you know anyone that you feel like would connect, it's any ages, but Black and brown people that want to learn how to farm and actually grow, I am offering 50% of my land in Westchester to people who want to start their own micro farms. You'll have me as a resource, you'll have my team as a resource, my supplies, my equipment, and I'll help you build something from scratch. First, starting with what many of us forget, is the business plan. Mm-hmm. We start there first. I help you with your financials, your numbers. You meet my accountant, my attorney, all of it. And so that's something that's my give back. And I want to make sure that there's more people like me throughout this world.
No doubt. And how can people find more information about you, social media, website, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so farmerjawn.co is our website, and Instagram is farmerjawn_. And yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all in Westchester or here when we're around, but look for Corner Jawn that's coming, and that's going to be really impactful for the city.
We got to support these Black-owned businessmen. Let's give it up for Christa one more time. Farmer Jawn.